Here.
Miller.
Here.
Brown.
Here.
Kettmeyer.
Here.
Stoner.
Here.
Rock.
Here.
Murdock.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Chair, we entertain a motion to approve item number 2 on the agenda.
So moved.
That would be the claims report dated June 8th, 2013 through July, yeah, it says June 8th on my July 8th, through July 22nd. The treasurer's report, May 31st, 2013. Building permit report, June 2013. And the following meeting minutes: City Council, June 10th, July 8th. City Council study session, June 10th, June 12th, and June 18th. City Council retreat minutes, May 30th, 2013. Planning Commission meeting minutes, July 15th, 2013. And is there a second? Second.
Got it.
Thank you. Do any of you wish to hold back any of these items for discussion? Seeing none, then Madam Clerk.
Miller.
Yes.
Kettmeyer.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Murdock.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Rock.
Yes.
Stoner.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
And I don't have anything urgent for the mayor's report, so we can move to new business. Larry? What do you
I
got?
have none tonight.
How about you, Wendell?
Nothing, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Lyle? John?
No, sir.
All right. Vince?
No new business.
Okay, Mike?
Nothing the same.
Old business? Okay, thank you.
No business, Mr. Mayor.
That moves us into public participation. Here's an opportunity for the public to speak and address the mayor and council. And if you wish to speak, step up to the table, providing 5 minutes. We're going to lead off with Maureen Holtz.
Gentlemen, I refer everyone back to the demolition in the summer of 2011 of the house at Buchanan in Washington. You may all remember that a city employee urged Mr. Alsop and Jerry Summers to follow OSHA and Illinois EPA regulations regarding screening for asbestos by a properly trained staff member prior to the house being demolished. When Mr. Alsop discovered that the employee had confirmed with EPA that this screening by a trained individual was required, that person was abruptly terminated. Soon, the city attorney had researched the Whistleblower Act, retaliation issues, and asbestos screening. In exchange for the employee agreeing not to sue the city for Mr. Alsop's retaliatory actions, that person was compensated with a 6-month severance package. This cost the city approximately $50,000, counting legal fees, severance, etc. Thanks for spending taxpayer money in such a wanton fashion, Mr. Alsop. Alderman Murdock, Eads, and Brown were asked to intervene before the house was demolished, yet they did nothing. The city council had copies of the employee's email to Mr. Summers and the email from Alan Grimmett of the EPA, so they knew that Mr. Alsop was incorrect in stating that an inspection was not necessary. Also, the EPA informed Mr. Alsop during the June 30th, 2011 phone call that an inspection was required. Mr. Alsop ignored the EPA and the staff member and had the house at Buchanan and Washington demolished. The forms required by the EPA were filled out many weeks later by Mr. Summers, and an important box was left unanswered regarding presence or lack thereof of asbestos. If Mr. Alsop was correct about the EPA not requiring an inspection, write to the city and submit the incomplete form. Mr. Alsop's history of tearing down buildings without having them inspected for asbestos includes the Curtis building and the former pool. Most of you signed political ads written by Mr. Alsop and placed in the March 27th and April 3rd newspaper, when I, my husband, and 2 other citizens were denounced as having, quote, falsely suggested, the existence of issues where there are none, unquote. In other words, you called us liars. The April 3rd ad claimed that the city didn't need to inspect that house at Buchanan in Washington because the project didn't involve federal or state funds. Wrong. This was part of a city project, and according to the EPA, inspections were required. How Mr. Alsop can claim an ad that an inspection wasn't needed is incomprehensible. And how the city council then and the mayor could support him in stating this in the ad is also incomprehensible. Your ad also stated, quote, city employees are not certified inspectors but have enough experience to know what is considered hazardous, end quote. Having enough experience is not proof of training. Your ad also stated, demolition project where asbestos-containing materials is present are properly trained and protected from potential exposure, end quote. Mr. Alsop confirmed that his staff had no training in inspecting for asbestos. Thus, Mr. Alsop is not just ignoring Illinois EPA regulations, but also the Department of Labor and OSHA. Mr. Mayor, you allow Mr. Alsop to terminate an individual who is considered an excellent employee. If Mr. Alsop had dealt grounds to terminate this employee, why did you and the rest of the council hand out the salaries? Something to hide or someone to protect? How can you now expect any employee to feel safe working for the city, knowing that Mr. Alsop can retaliate at any time, and that he can insist that employees demolish a building without care for their health and safety? What would happen to another person who speaks out? By allowing all of this, Mr. Mayor, and the then council, you all show you have no integrity. Mr. Cudmeyer, 2 weeks ago, you said I was bringing my trash to the city building and dumping it. Incorrect. I'm not bringing my trash. I'm bringing the city council's and Mr. Alsop's garbage to the public's attention, as well as his lack of scruples. I now have copies of that letter from the Department of Labor in case you didn't get it.
Steve Trevor?
I'll pass.
Okay. That leads us to item number 7 on our agenda, new business. And we need to, for the record, initiate the annual appropriation public hearing at 7:07. And this is an opportunity prior to approval for the public to comment, weigh in on the appropriation, and you're invited to do so at this time. Please step forward if you wish to comment.
I think I will, because I've had an opportunity to review the proposed appropriation ordinance and the budget. And I've also been present at the meetings where it's been stated that the water and sewer departments are gonna suffer shortfalls. And basically the city's saying that, the city administration is saying that we're short of money and we're gonna have to raise taxes. All the while, in this budget, you're giving away $250,000. And I'm thinking, that doesn't sound like somebody that's really having a shortfall and needs to raise taxes. And I also mentioned this once before, I'll mention it again. I still haven't had anybody at all explain to me how it was factored that one charity that you're donating to deserves $100,000 and another one only $5,000. That doesn't seem fair. If we're gonna give money away, I think it should be equitable. I know that Willow Tree has only one time come to this city council and asked for anything. And when they did so, it was the first time in 4 years. I know that Habitat has asked for a donation over a 4-year period, so I guess this would be considered Willow Tree's 4-year period. They asked for $30,000. You have in this budget, agreed to give them 5. The $25,000, the first payment that went to Habitat went so without authorization, other than the fact that on the claims, you guys approved the claims that night, with no discussion whatsoever. And when it was presented loud and clear that it was an all or none deal. They needed $100,000 or they didn't need anything. So by giving them the $25,000, I think, may have at that point obligated you to $100,000 for them. But still, as of this minute, you still have the opportunity to discuss and decide to appropriate and budget more money for Willow Tree, which is, in anybody's estimation, every bit of a worthy cause, as is Habitat. I'd also ask you to consider some of the other spending that's involved in this. $175,000 to start on a project that was initially stated to be supported solely through donations. Seems like an abrupt change. I haven't heard anybody say, hey, I think we're gonna take this project that we said we weren't gonna put a penny of public money into, that we've already loaned $550,000 to, expecting that to be repaid from they wanted to make sure that it was very clear that nothing would move forward on this project until the donations came in that would support the project and construction of the project. And in their words, because if the donations don't arrive, we can always flip the property. I remember that vividly because I remember thinking to myself, wait a minute here. We're getting the seller of the property to accept his asking price for a property he hasn't been able to sell in 8 years. Yet we think we can just flip the property if we decide not to build the ball diamonds. Speaking of ball diamonds, I'm looking at ball diamonds that are empty most of the time. Even if they were, the ball season is so short, I don't see where spending millions of dollars on a project like this makes sense. If the city of Monticello needs anything, or our community needs anything, it would be a shooting range, or a drag strip, or a circle track. There are all kinds of facilities that would make more sense and would actually bring revenue into Monticello. A sportsman club would be a perfect thing for out there. Nevertheless, I would encourage you to review closely what you're doing here and spend the taxpayers' money responsibly. You guys don't have any money to spend. This isn't city's money. This is taxpayers' money that you are charged with proper disbursement of. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to speak? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, I think you can officially conclude the public hearing portion of the appropriation at 7:14. And that does conclude the public hearing, and that moves us into the resolution 2013-37. This is the fiscal year 2014 budget. And each year the city council discusses and approves the annual budget. The budget is a working tool to monitor city revenues and expenditures. This budget has been discussed at previous council study sessions and city council meetings. And the chair would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Tim. Is there a second? Could there be discussion, questions, comments on the budget, either from staff or council?
I think we've had plenty.
Anybody down this way? Staff, do you have any comments you need to make?
But answer any questions you have.
Okay. Seeing no comments, Madam Clerk?
Hayes,
Yes.
Brown,
No.
Brock,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Stoner,
Yes.
Hiller,
No.
Kettemeyer.
I'll say yes now.
Thank you. Budget passes. We move to item number C, ordinance number 2013-38, annual appropriation approved. The appropriation is the legal authority to expend funds. State statute requires public notice and public review period. Both have been met. The appropriation must be approved and reported by the end of the first quarter of each fiscal year. This appropriation is based on the annual budget. The chair would entertain a
So
motion.
moved.
Kim? Second. Larry? Any comments, questions regarding the appropriation? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Stoner,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Kettemeyer,
Yes.
Hiller,
Yes.
Brock.
Yes.
That leads us to ordinance number 2013-39. This is the annual Monticello Main Street libation area approved. In conjunction with the city of Monticello, Monticello Main Street is hosting the Midsummer Night's Swing event on August 17th, 2013. This ordinance will allow Monticello Main Street to sell glass of wine as a fundraiser within and outside libation area during this event. Could you, Sam, highlight some of the things, the features of this proposal?
Sure. To reinforce what you just stated, this is a Monticello Main Street event. They're looking at this as an opportunity to raise some funds for their organization. This ordinance basically allows them to sell wine only at retail on August 17th from 5:30 to 9 p.m. Libation area, as you can see in the exhibit, is going cleanup, and they'll be using paper and plastic cups within that area. They will be providing us with certificate, the appropriate certificate of insurance, listing as additional insured, and also proof of gram shop as well. So basically, that's it. Carrie Rickshaw is the new Main Street Director, in case you haven't met her. I guess, is there anything that I left out on that, Carrie?
No, you did a very nice job.
Could you step forward, please, in case the council has any questions for you, just have a seat here at the front table. Thanks. Jim?
I noticed that on the drawing, the libation area, will that be encircled by the orange fence as it has been in the past? And in addition, on, let's see, this is shown as Washington Street will be blocked off, as well as Charter Street. Okay, I think the map is incorrect. So, it should be
Charter
Main.
Main where you wanted it?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought maybe you made a change while
Yeah.
I was gone, so it would be down on the corner of Charter Main.
Right in here. Yes.
By the First State Bank.
Will you block off the entrance going on South Charter off of State
No,
up at the top?
I don't think so. That was supposed to be where you, I don't have a map, but you should be able to.
In front of there.
Just this right
Oh,
here.
Yeah, we'll put something, traffic should go that way.
These two blocks here, it won't interfere with any of the downtown business or anything. Or the area.
Good thing you commented on that, Jim, because it is backwards, that's the way our diagram shows it too. Any others? Questions? Yes, sir. Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion.
Second.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Larry. Any further questions or discussion? You may have your seat. Thanks. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Schiller?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Kettemeyer?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
Stoner?
Yes.
Miller?
No.
Murdock?
Yes.
Leads us into Resolution 2013-40, the annual MFT Oil and Chip Project Award. Bids were solicited for the annual oil and chip program, and this resolution awards the contract to the low responsive bidder of said oil and chip project. Lloyd?
City staff advertised, received 2 bids for the annual oil and chip project. Said project is illustrated on an exhibit attached to this resolution. The city received 2 bids, one from Eliana and one from the Earl Walker Company. Earl Walker submitted a bid for $128,036 even, and Eliana submitted the low bid of $127,505.20. $127,505.20. So this resolution is an award of the project to Eliana for their little bid. It's my understanding that they are scheduled to perform said oil and chip program August 12th and 13th, contingent upon weather. Keep in mind, every day it rains, puts it back 1 day. So the intent was to have this performed before school starts.
Which is nice, because one year got kind of late and didn't hear probably. Tim?
I might note that in our proposed fiscal year budget, under motor fuel tax, we've already saved approximately $13,000.
That's good, that's apparently a pretty competitive field out there right now. Chair, entertain a motion.
So moved.
Thank you, Tim.
Second.
Michael? Any further questions, comments?
Talk about competitive.
Yes.
2 cents a
Yes.
gallon is the only difference. 2 cents a gallon.
They sharpen that pencil. Madam Clerk?
Murdock?
Yes.
Stoner?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Kettemeyer?
Yes.
Thank you. That leads us to item number F on our agenda, Resolution 2013-41. This is a conditional use of 301 South Charter. This is the property owner of this, that's the former county annex building, by the way, wishes to lease the space out to 2 separate and non-accessory businesses to his home, also operating out of this facility. As per section 153.018E of the zoning ordinance, a conditional use permit is required to allow more than one main use on the same parcel. This ordinance will allow 3 main uses at 301 South Charter Street. And staff, number one, would you care to highlight this, what's going on with this? I understand there was a meeting already.
There was a meeting earlier. While I review this, I'd like Mr. Dick and Mr. Peters to come up here in case there are any questions. I'm sorry.
Nick, please.
301 South Charter Street is owned business. Again, Mr. Dick owns it. He currently operates his business over his door out of this location. It's a large building and he has some extra space to lease, so he wishes to lease it to 2 separate businesses, one being one owned by his wife, which is for the purpose of a salon, and then the other one to the Pike County Animal Shelter, which Mr. Peters is here to speak on behalf of. All 3 of those uses, the overhead door business being commercial establishment not designated, the beauty salon and kennel are allowed at the site individually by right. However, because they are non-accessory to each other, a conditional use permit is required before this to be allowed. The property owner was not aware of the violation in the zoning ordinance and is more than agreeable to comply with the process so that, to see if he may continue his uses. Just to give you a brief overview of the project, the salon is going to occupy 1 room and offer your basic haircutting, styling services. The animal shelter would like to use space in the south side of the building for an exam room, reception area, and indoor kennel for housing the animals. The adjacent property owners, commissioners, and council members did receive a statement from the animal shelter describing their project. And on average, they plan to house 30 to 40 cats right now, with a capacity of up to 70. They do foster everything out right now, so again, they don't have a location, but the plan would be to eliminate the foster homes and
Add 2.
Add 2, okay, add 2, and provide this location. One adjacent property owner did call me and express concerns over use of the shelter in between 2 historic districts, and she did submit a letter which was included in your packets. Other than that, the planning commission met last Monday and recommended approval unanimously with the following conditions, which Mrs. Peters was more than agreeable to. A minimum of 150 square feet of pervious material for a walk area, decorative and adequate fencing to be installed around the entryway to kind of prevent accidental escapes, and then limiting the number of dogs on site to 4. Now, one clarification, Ms. Computer said at the hearing that they've only had 2 dogs in the last 5 years. She doesn't anticipate having any. They would assume if they got any to foster those out anyway, being with the kennel environment not being very appropriate or accommodating. So, that's my speech.
The chair would entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Kim?
Second.
Larry, seconds. Do you have any questions for either the petitioner or one of the, yeah, Kim?
I might just admit that I attended the planning commission meeting that night, and there were a number of issues involved with this, in particular the animal shelter. And I must say that I felt Kelly handled all the questions very well, specifically, and Mrs. McPeters answered every question, and anything that the planning commission or those in the audience desired to have done, she was more than agreeable to. She did mention that it was, at this point, just a 1-year lease, and that you were looking for a more permanent facility somewhere else, and that she was going to do anything that was necessary to make sure that it was not offensive odor-wise, pet-wise, anything. So that's why the planning commission obviously all voted in favor.
And one thing I might add, if there are ever any concerns regarding the noise or the odor or anything with any, just like any other business or residence, we do have that nuisance ordinance that kind of is a remedy for that.
Any others?
You're gonna have mostly cats then? You don't,
Yeah, that's-
on site?
On site, that's how our county is. I mean, we've got a leash law.
Yeah.
There's a lot of breeding, and what we try and do is we get calls about dogs. If they want to rehome the dog, we try and rehome it straight from their house into a new home because it's the best thing for the dog. We've taken in a couple because of death of owner, or people become homeless. But we have, in 5 years' time, we have never had any more than 2 at one time, and that was just for a period of maybe a month.
And the cat, I'm imagining, a cat person, but real or farm, so.
Yeah, it's a rural
They're all
community.
gonna be inside, right?
They're all gonna be inside, and in fact, with reference to, like volume,
in the area that would house the dogs in the building, there are no windows in that area at all. So there isn't gonna be a noise issue out to the public because, you know,
Yeah.
there's no doors or exterior doors or windows in that space.
Who handles your veterinary needs?
The animal
at your
hospital
shelter?
does, but also we contract out with CASNAP, and then we're working with the U of I to try and get a program where they would come once a month to do a spay neuter program, and that could also help the city because they would take in for a fee of, well, we could set the fee. $25 covers their cost. We go 35 to 45 to cover the cost of spay or neuter, and they would do it on site. They have a mobile unit that would come in, and they're hoping to do once a month in our county. And then any fees above the $25 we would put back to help people who need space and meters but can't afford it.
That isn't in place yet, but you're hopeful?
We're hopeful, and we have been doing that for the full, in fact, I've been doing it for 8 years, but the shelter's been doing it for 5 years anyway. Some of them we send to the county if we know they're a county animal, but we've also taken over some of the county residents.
Others?
I've had 2 calls concerning this,
Okay.
and they both are related to barking dogs.
Marking dogs?
Barking dogs.
Oh, barking, well, when they're indoors, they're not gonna hear the barking of dogs. They will never be outside unattended and on a leash. So even when we go out to walk them within the confines of our, 150 square foot area, which is right adjacent to the building, they will be in attendance with one of our staff and on a leash. So, and they will never be left out there by themselves.
They won't be left out there to bark.
No, never. They will never be unattended outside.
That's my concern.
Yeah, okay. Others? John?
I had calls and talked with business owner. They do not want a kennel in a business district. They are very much opposed to the kennel, from just what they told me. So I've been getting negative information from the public.
And we hope to address any of those issues by being community positive, that's why when I sent the statement to Chris about neighborhood impact, we tried to address issues above and beyond what we would really need to do, just so we could keep everybody happy in the interim. It's a great space for us to get the public initiated into the idea of having a shelter, to get the volunteers in, get that set up before we can find a permanent space.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none? I think we need a motion. We've got a motion and a second on the table. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Hayes?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Miller?
No.
Rock?
Yes.
Stoner?
Yes.
Enmeyer?
Yes, based upon your promise.
Hiller?
Same as Ace.
Yes.
Murdock?
Okay. That motion carries. Looks like you're good to go. Thank you. And that leads us to ordinance number 2013-42. This is a technology and data center use text amendment to the municipal code. This ordinance will establish a definition and parking regulations for a new use defined as technology and data center. Boyd? Sure. You're here to
handle this.
shed some light on this for us, please.
Well, the county approached the city in concept about opportunity they have to bring, as you know, in the intergovernmental agreement, to bring the fiber optic to Monticello to service your businesses and your residents and customers. Along with that comes some new challenges, some new uses, some things that aren't anticipated by your current zoning code, including a technology and data center. Contrary to what it said in the paper today, your current zoning code is not equipped to deal with the concept that the county has for use of buildings. And so to build in the opportunity for that to happen while at the same time safeguarding the surrounding residents so they have a proper opportunity to comment on it, to build in conditions, to craft the kind of proper zoning use. This and the planning and development text ordinance that comes with it, that's further down the agenda, were necessary in order to create the possibility So, we worked with Callie to come up with these things, this text amendment for the technology data center, and then also for the plan unit development. She's very good at what she does, we think it fits what she needs from Monticello, and we presented it to the planning commission, and after some discussion, talking about the purpose of plan unit development, how it's a modern planning tool, it really is in our position, an essential tool to allow Callie to do her job. And then the technology and data center, it builds in the kind of safeguards you want for mixing that kind of use into another office setting or other settings like the county's proposing. So that's why we came up with these two text amendments. It's to bring the code forward and also to lay the foundation for this opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Chair would entertain a motion at this time.
So moved.
Okay. John got you first.
Second.
And Tim seconds. Do you have questions for either Dirk or Callie or Floyd?
I do. I've had a question that I really can't get answered, and maybe it's because I missed the presentation by the state's attorney the other day. Taxes, real estate taxes. Now, a renter doesn't pay that. They're assumed that they're collected by the landlord, and the landlord pays them. Well, in this case, county doesn't have to pay real estate taxes. So does that mean that the renters receive, whoever they might be, receive a discount or a bargain, or slide under it having to be part of their cost of operation, passed on taxes? I'd like to know what that grade, thank you.
I'm willing to be corrected by the state's attorney, but it's my understanding that any unit of government that owns a piece of property that leases it privately loses the tax exemption for the portion of property that is leased, whether it's a cell tower, an office use, or anything. And then that's collected in, I anticipate the county's surely sophisticated enough to enter into a triple net lease, it's called. That's a standard commercial lease in which the renter pays its portion of real estate tax. So, I don't think the major premise that they're getting a break and not paying real estate taxes is true. And B, then whether the county wants to do that to facilitate businesses as an incubator, which is something you do in enterprise zones, it's a common economic development tool to spur jobs. Sometimes jobs are more important than a few property tax dollars. That's a decision the county gets to make. All that being said, I think they're paying property taxes.
Well, thank you. I really wasn't worried about any certain amount that may be, but it seemed, if there wasn't some type of ruling, it seemed like unfair competition, if it ever got to that. And I'm not particularly talking about the one that we're gonna be discussing later.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dirk. Any others? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Brown?
Yes.
Murdock?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Hennemeyer? Stoner?
Yes.
Hayes?
Yes.
Miller?
Yes.
Brock?
Yes.
Thank you. And that leads us to item H on the agenda, ordinance 2013-43. This is the planned unit development text amendments to the municipal code. This is an ordinance that will remove the existing planned unit development section of the City of Monticello subdivision ordinance and amend and add it to the zoning ordinance chapter of the municipal code.
Yes, there are references to planned unit developments in your subdivision code, and that's consistent with the evolution of subdivision codes. But the subdivision code is secondary and serves the zoning code, which is your primary policy statement. And as the code is written before this amendment, it doesn't really give the opportunity for a planned unit development to do what it can do. Your competitors in the economic development world, surrounding communities, who are your competitors for bringing jobs, they have this tool. You should have this tool. It does, the genesis of it, the cause of considering it was the creative proposal put forward by the county. That was a perfect opportunity to demonstrate how it would work. It's a combination of uses that might not otherwise be permissible in exchange for conditions, things that can be put on. That's the purpose of a planned unit development. It allows you to be more place sensitive to the needs of the neighborhood. And the same with signage. The last thing we wanted is, with multiple tenants to have multiple signs that now are everybody's nightlight. That's not what this community is about, and so we wanted to put safeguards on there about signage. That's what a PUD allows you to do, and that's why we're recommending this text amendment to you.
Chair to entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Tim, do you have questions regarding this plan unit development? Comments? Seeing none, Madam Clerk.
Kenmeyer.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Murdock.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Rock.
Yes.
Stoner.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Okay, that leads us into item I on the agenda, resolution 2013-44, conditional use for a professional office at the Pike County Complex. Pike County wishes to lease space out to medical professionals to provide services to the assisted living facility and nursing home facility residents. This ordinance will authorize a conditional use permit for a professional office in an RD zone at the Pike County Complex. That's 1111 and 1115 North State Street and 1000 North Union. Staff, do you care to add to this description?
No, just before the PUD is considered, we need to address what we can that is covered under the zoning ordinance. And again, Pike County has some extra space. They'd like to, in the future, offer some service to the nursing home and assisted living residents in terms of physical therapy.
I think we already.
Did we have a motion? No, not this one.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second, John? Tim, you have a question?
Yes, I just wanted to point out that, so there is no confusion over what the Pike County owns. Pike County owns the old Kirby Hospital building. The buildings that were adjacent to that, but not connected, which we used to refer to as the doctor's buildings, those are still owned by Kirby. And what they're requesting is actually going in the old hospital.
Right,
Okay.
right. And that's a good clarification too. Thank you, Tim.
Just to further upon that, we did include all three buildings, the nursing home, assisted living, and the office building, just to allow the county a little flexibility. We limited just to the old hospital, the say physical therapist was better off closer to the nursing home or assisted living residents, that allows them a little more flexibility there.
Because Maple Point is part of this too.
Yes.
Yes, it is. That would be the 1000 Union address. Any others? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Miller.
Yes.
Kenmeyer.
Yes.
Hayes.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Stoner.
Yes.
Murdock.
Yes.
Rock.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Thank you. And finally, that leads us to item J, ordinance number 2013-45, and that is the conditional use for Pike County Planned Unit Development Proposal. Pike County proposes to establish a mix of complementary uses in a single campus style setting at the Pike County Complex. That's 1111, 1115, and 1000 North State Street and Union. The composite of the existing uses of the assisted living facility, nursing home, and county office building, along with the proposed uses of professional office and technology and data center, are typically not found or permitted in urban residential zone, RD. However, utilizing the planned unit development process, the county is able to petition for a conditional use permit to allow planned unit development. This ordinance will authorize a conditional use permit for a planned unit development in an RD zone. Quite a description to put in there, Kelly, thank you. You wish to add anything yourself?
Just again, the planning commission recommended approval of this on Monday night, 7 yes, 0 no. And I'm sure you read it in your reviewing your documents, but just to briefly review again, the 4 conditions that city staff and council recommend being added on this PUD. Overnight parking with tenant vehicles be restricted to the east side of the complex. Existing signage on State Street be allowed to remain. Noise dampening on the generator be
considerable amount of noise, but it was pointed out that that was the chiller units that allow to keep the buildings cool. So the chiller does make some noise, and it always has, so.
Okay, thank you, Tim. Others?
Now, the main entrance for most of the renters, where I look, there we go. The main entrance for most of the renters will be the service drive, I assume.
Well, during the county's here, so maybe.
Yeah, that's,
Please come on forward, Mr. Wilkins, and you can address the council.
If we have renters that are of the medical sort, down next to the nursing home, that would be from the front, except for probably the long-term parking would be in the back. If we have a data center, you don't expect to have anyone there 99% of the time. It's remotely taken care of. The person that we're trying to get for the splicing and taking care of all this system for the four of us, that being the school, the county, the city, and the library. That person won't be there all the time, but he'll have an office there, and he probably would come in through the back in the same area, either as the boiler room entrance there, or next to the chiller, or the entrance where it comes in.
Anybody else have?
I know you put a lot of investment into the building with heating and air and many other things. And do you suspect that there'll be other possibilities to rent?
We get a data center in there and have this person, we know where the data center would be, we know where the person would be, and if we get medical things, we're gonna have to do some jockeying, because the building is pretty well used.
Oh, it is.
Yes, it is. It's not like it's standing there empty. There's very little space that's not used.
That's good.
Yes, I think we're happy about that.
Is that all you have? Yes? Any others? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Miller,
Thank you.
Yes.
Stoner,
Yes.
Rock,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Hayes,
Yes.
Murdock,
Yes.
Kavanaugh.
Yes.
Thank you. That concludes the new business section of our agenda tonight, and we just into all of the reports. If you've got anything that's on your mind, then I'll give you time.
Well, I just want to know we had a wonderful Little League tournament out at the Fourth Reserve Park this past weekend. Brought several people into town. The pool has been doing some fantastic business the past few days based on the heat factor. Also, I wanted to mention I had the opportunity to help with the Habitat for Humanity Home Foundation a week ago, last Saturday, the 13th. And I can tell you that the people who were there were most appreciative of what the city has done to help this neighborhood, especially the neighborhood itself is thrilled to see that there are going to be some new homes going on properties that need homes for people who definitely need homes, and those will be back on the tax rolls. So that was nice to have and see and be a part of. Also, I just want to mention the Gift of Life, the Bloodmobile, will be out at Kirby Hospital Thursday, August the 1st, 12 to 6. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Sure, thank you, Tim. Tim, you got anything?
That we all attended the villas at Hollybrook.
Yeah.
saying they were speeding, they were rolling. After you tonight, a petition by 31 neighbors wanting a stop sign, four-way at Bond Street, trying to help slow that down.
Okay. And have you spoken to the chief about this too, by the way?
Not yet.
Not yet? You just got spoken to, chief. I would call upon you to get together with the chief personally, if you could take him down to the area and review it together and, show him where the sign is proposed, come back with something formal from the chief. We'll see if we can't get that to happen. I live on a street that has much the same racetrack to it. Thank you. Wendell?
I'll have to defer to the chief. Do you have anything?
Do you want to wait on my report?
We'll take your report right now.
I'm going to take it right now. My report is the month-end report for June. I don't read all the stats to you. I mean, you have those. If you ever have any questions, please ask me. I do highlight a few. I like to talk about a couple things. Follow-up investigations in June were 33. This is an effort when I review reports that anything that has a possibility of a follow-up or needs to be followed up goes back to the officer and make sure we follow up on our investigations. And the officers have been doing a great job doing that. So that number is fluctuating somewhat, but it's something I really take a hard look at. Going to mention some of the service-oriented things like downtown foot patrols. I know each month you can get this and you see that number, but this is a very service-oriented department. There's not many cities that actually provide a downtown foot patrol. We actually do 2 a night for that. I wanted to mention that. When I talk about service-oriented, the numbers of cars they unlock here, I don't report that to you, but it's amazing on a monthly basis how many car unlocks we do, and that's a service, again, a lot of communities don't provide anymore. Where I came from, they haven't provided any car unlocks since 1981, so just a great service, and it's amazing how many people lock their keys in their car, but it's great they can call the police department for that and receive that service. Citizen callback, you probably hear me say that too many times, but I really monitor that, and thanks to the officers of the department, I only require a minimum of 2 a month. Most are reporting 4 to 8 a month, so but they're really participating and cooperating with that. On the back sheet, I always mention a couple things. The Monticello Fire and Police Commission, they've conducted a written exam that was back in June, of course, and did interviews June 29th, and it's kind of an update. They just established their initial eligibility list, and the final eligibility list for this testing process will be August 1st. The list will be posted then, but I can't commend enough Bernie Myler, who's the chair, and Richard Jesse and Jenna Branch, and we've all worked together as a team, and we've had many, many meetings, and again, this has been a testing year, and it's been a real good team effort, and I can't commend the commission enough. As you know, it is a volunteer service, and they've done a great job. On June 22nd, we assisted with the annual rodeo parade, my first. I thought it was a great parade. I enjoyed it. We assisted with the first ever Bloomington Gold Tour, which there was a lot of organization. Of course, Kelly Jo did a lot of it, but the police assisted with all the traffic control needed for that, and also received assistance from the Piatt County Sheriff's Department. I thought it was a huge success. I think Kelly Jo would probably agree with that. Officer Al Clark represented the department at the Ellerton Library for a brief educational for children about police work, and they all received some gifts from the police department. I omitted accidentally the training for this month, but the department, all the officers, including myself, did attend a sexual assault advocacy center training. It was hosted here, but it was representatives from Decatur and Urbana, and I think it's just a good idea to always have that annual training, and so we all participate in that in the month of June. And that's basically my report, unless someone has questions. Any questions?
I have a question and it's not anything the chief overlooked. I work several days a week in jail, county jail out here. We have a scanner in the location that I'm at, and it always amazes me the number of 911 calls that are false, misdialed for some reason. I will assure you that if you misdial a 911 call in the city of Monticello, someone will contact you. They are not ignored. Whether they are misdialed, many of them, 95% of them are misdialed. But someone will make an effort to contact you to see if you are in distress. If you are not, a simple no problem answer is all that's required. But don't be surprised if they come knocking on your door or contact you wherever the cell tower says you're at. someone's gonna come and see you for a few seconds to see if you're all right. So it is a service we provide, and it's provided many more times a day than you can imagine.
That's a good comment, I'm glad you brought that up, Wendell. That's something we all overlook, because most of us don't use 911, and occasionally one of us will use it by mistake. And,
For the kids that are out.
well, yeah, I'm sure
A lot of
that.
kids.
Yeah, it goes, I mean, you know, it goes from the high school parking lot to contractors that have a phone in their pocket, and
Right.
they sit down in the truck, and it's a missed dial, you know, accidental dial, whatever. But unless you go and ask, you don't know. And so we do ask.
Good comment.
It is followed up on.
Thank you, Wendell. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Larry, we got anything?
Nothing tonight.
I guess that's the case. Well, that concludes the Alderman's report, and brings us down to the superintendent's report.
Very quickly here, I'd like to note that the corporate replacement tax that we received in July was 8% greater than the check we received same time period last year. So this makes two checks we've received during this fiscal year that total 23% increase over the same period last year. So that's about $90,000 additional dollars this year's corporate replacement tax as compared to last year. And typically, we gain some grants of school, county, township, library, everybody else. So that's good for Monticello, period. Online registration for recreation, it's my understanding that we fired up today. So we're trying to make it more convenient for the working parents, so they don't have to come in here or make a trip into City Hall to sign up. So hopefully that will be something that is heavily utilized. Sounds like most of you made it out to Villas, which is a good deal. I made it down to Walnut Rejuvenation neighborhood open house event yesterday, and it's my understanding that I noticed a couple of you were there, and I would echo the comments that I heard earlier. The residents and the neighborhood itself, that others that weren't from Walnut Street, were very appreciative for the mayor and city council's decision. And they just went on and on about how wonderful that is to know that they're going to have a few older homes disappear, and one already, as you've heard plenty about, and new ones show up, which will increase the assessed value, pick up the value of the whole neighborhood, provide opportunities for some residents here in the community. So it was a good thing, and they definitely recognize that you guys made that decision on their behalf. And then, other than that, sounds like you were well informed of what was going on during my absence of Public Works and everybody else, so I have nothing further.
Unless anybody has any further questions or comments?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn, Mr. Mayor.
Is there a second?
Second.
Anyone?